Jack here, owner of Hockey Alley, bringing you back hockey history. Today I have NHL great Dave Christian. He played on the U.S. Olympic team in 1980 on the Miracle team, and also he played in the NHL for the Winnipeg Jets and Boston Bruins. And he also was owner of the Christian Hockey Stick Company. I'm going to ask him a little bit about that and ask him about the Miracle on Ice team and how that experience was. And let's see how it goes. Yeah.
I know it'll go well.
Hi, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jack.
Great. Thank you for coming on and talking to me. It's an honor to have you.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. You don't ever get tired of talking hockey.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and you played many years with the Olympic Miracle team, and you were playing in the NHL for the Jets and Washington Capitals, and I think you played with Boston, correct?
I did.
Yeah.
Boston's my third team. I played, and then I left Boston and played a year in St. Louis and finished my NHL career with the Blackhawks in Chicago.
Yes.
So 5 different teams.
That's all right. You were there. That's what matters. And yeah.
And it went fast. Holy cow!
Did it really?
It flew by.
Wow. Yeah. How old were you when you started playing hockey?
Boy, Chuck, I go back. I don't ever remember learning how to skate. But I was probably playing organized hockey. We played a lot of unorganized, just out on the river, on a shoveled off rink on the river, or just open hockey. I was probably 9 or 10 when I started playing.
Oh wow, that's kind of late.
Hockey, so.
Yeah, that's kind of late for.
I was still skating, but.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, growing up in northern Minnesota, Warroad, Minnesota, Hockey Town, USA.
Yeah, it's famous for the Christian hockey sticks, which you and family owned, correct?
That is correct. We were known as the land of windows, walleyes, and hockey sticks.
Wow.
It's a headquarters of Marvin Windows. And we we're on the shores of the south shore of Lake of the Woods. Wow. And then right across the highway from the Marvin Window plant, my dad and uncle started and ran a little hockey stick manufacturing company.
Yeah, I used those sticks. They were great. I used the replacement blades for about, I think, 8 to 10 years, and I did use the wooden sticks before. Not often, though.
Okay. Yeah, I grew up with that. The old all wood.
Yeah.
Ash shaft, elm blades. Yeah, the sock wrap.
Yeah, wow. They were
diamond design. Yeah, I used them. And as a young kid, I enjoyed the time, coming up and going in the plant and making sticks as a young kid and taking them to the rink and trying them out. And
how cool!
Deciding that no, that one doesn't really work. I got to do that again.
And the curves, you can try different curves, which is awesome.
Yes, you could.
Yeah, that's the best. That's the best part, to find out what curve is the best.
And back then, you could recurve them.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was always a pre-game ritual. Was firing up the torch and heating them up and curving them just the way that you wanted them.
Yeah, I used to do the same. And I had a torch in my bag or a heat gun. Always had, because they heat really well and they never split, so you can bend them, and the wrap held pretty good.
Yeah, like my mom used to be upset though because we turn the oven on and throw them in there every now and then. that fiberglass and resin didn't smell the best when you started heating it up.
It's great memories though. Wow. Where did you play your minor hockey?
I played my minor hockey in Warroad, my hometown of Warroad. Started with Squirts, Pee-wees, Bantams. Played 3 years till my high school team, the Warroad Warriors. And I think the best memories I have is just meeting my friends and for a pickup game. And if you didn't happen to have a key to the rink, you knew somebody that did, or when you left, the last person to leave would leave the side door open, and we'd sneak in and turn a few lights on and just have a pickup game.
Yeah.
Those are the best times.
Oh yeah, for sure. Great memories. And,
Absolutely.
yeah. And so after midget hockey, did you go to college?
Yeah.
Did you get discovered to college?
I went to the University of North Dakota for 2 years. Ended North Dakota for 2 years. And after my sophomore year, I was invited to that Olympic tryout in Colorado Springs, and made that team with Brooks as coach. And then when the Olympics were over, I played my first game with the Winnipeg Jets 1 week after the final game in Lake Placid.
Wow.
We had won the gold medal. A week later on Sunday, I played my first game in Winnipeg.
And on your first shift, you had your first NHL goal.
That was pretty crazy. Having played through the Olympic Games in Lake Placid, and I had not scored during the Olympics, and went to Winnipeg, and that was the second shift of the game. My first shift in the NHL. There was an offensive zone face-off. I think I was playing on a line with Chris Maneri and Morris Lukowich. And I won the face-off, and Morris tapped the puck back, helped out on the draw, got the puck back to our defenseman who shot, and I had gone to the net and grabbed a rebound. Seven seconds into my first NHL shift, into my NHL career.
Wow.
So that was a relief. That certainly was a relief.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you think that's a record for the quickest first shift of a career game goal?
Very possibly.
I know Mario did it. I think Mario Lemieux did it, but I don't think he did it in 7 seconds.
So, yeah, I was fortunate. It may be 7 seconds into your career.
And playing in the NHL, you were on such a high. And how was it to go into the NHL? Was it a lot easier from playing in that miracle game?
It was. I don't know if you would say it's easier. It was still tough, and you still had to went into that with the thought like you still had to prove yourself. Certainly, the victory at that time back in '80, with that victory, I think it gave a lot of us that played on that U.S. Olympic team an opportunity to play right away in the NHL. And I think it was the thought, like I was 20 years old at the time, and it's all I ever wanted to do was play the game. Yeah. And enjoyed the game of hockey, and it gave me a chance and opportunity to just move on from the victory. It's So.
The people don't understand that it's just the Russians. It wasn't just like that. You guys were college kids that were picked for this Olympic team that don't have any NHL experience. And then you have the Russians. When they came to play the NHLs, they would beat every team. Even Gretzky's team lost to the Russians. And that was just a club team. But you guys faced like an all-star team, and you beat them. That's why. It never happened in sports where it's just that much of a difference, with experience.
Well, it was certainly a challenge, and I think we were excited for it at the time. We had the first time that we were able to play that Soviet team was the game in Madison Square Garden a couple weeks prior to the Olympics. and they throttled us pretty good. And I remember Brooks that when the game was over, they had beaten us 10-3, and he came in the locker room after that game and just talked to the team about, all right, we're going to Lake Placid from here. I just want you to think about at one time that they were ahead of you 7-0. When you finally started to play, you skated with them and played them 3-3 in the second half of the game. Mm-hmm. That's kind of all I want you to think about is the fact that you can play with them, you can skate with them. Like we don't know if we'll see them again because we've got 5 games prior to the medal round. Mm-hmm. We don't know if we'll get another opportunity. So
yeah. And then this wasn't they think this is the gold medal game. It wasn't, because you had to face Finland, and that was a goal.
That's correct.
They were pretty tough too, right?
Yes, they were. Okay. They were good. I think Jari Kurri was on that.
Oh, really?
Finnish team back in 1980, and they had a good team, and like as we were in, I think 6 of the 7 games we played, we were behind after 2 periods. We were behind after 2 periods in the Finnish game. We were behind after 2 periods in the Soviet game. It was so. Coach Brooks did a nice job of kind of getting us refocused after the Soviet game. That was Friday. We had a hard practice on Saturday, getting ready for the Finnish game, and he had made the comment to us before the game against Finland. It was literally the only game where we had to win. The objective was winning. Prior to that, it was, go out and play the best that you can play and leave it all on the ice and being willing to accept whatever the outcome is, not having any regrets with the effort that we gave. And all of a sudden, the game against Finland, he reminded us that, if we didn't win, nobody would ever remember that we beat the Soviet Union.
Yeah, could have been, yeah.
And we would take that to our grave. With that added pressure, it took us a while to settle into, and with that pressure of now having to win, took us a while to get to our game.
Yeah. Was he a very tough coach, or was he like a mentor, or did he punish you if you made a mistake where you weren't going to play, or how was he?
We never. I don't know that we ever felt like we were going to get benched or punished for making a mistake. He was a coach. He always stressed that go out and if you're going to make a mistake, make sure you're making a mistake of commission, not of omission. Like, there's no shortcuts. Just pay attention to that. No shortcuts. He was demanding, but I think he was fair with everybody. Yeah, he was demanding, but it was very similar. As a young kid growing up in Warroad, my dad was my coach, and as we all know that a parent sometimes is the most demanding coach you can ever have, and so playing for Brooks was very similar to as a kid playing for your dad as coach. He just required and asked that you come to the rink and give it everything you had. You give 100%.
Yes.
And there's no such thing. There's no days off. And if we went into a game and he felt like we hadn't prepared mentally or physically well enough, he made us pay for that. So, but I think that was more discipline. He pointed out we had to have the discipline to show up to the rink every day.
Absolutely.
Preparation. It's all about preparation.
Yeah. And your dad also played for the U.S. Olympic team in 1960, and he was a gold medal winner.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. Squaw Valley, California.
Wow. Did you ever get to watch him play when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, I did get to watch him play, and some of my greatest memories are my senior year of high school. Once the season was over, my dad played for the local senior team, the Warwood Lakers, in the Allen Cup or the Hardy Cup playoffs, and I was able, after my senior year of high school, I was able to play with my dad on the Warwood Lakers in the playoffs, and I did it again after my sophomore year of college. Prior to the Olympic tryouts, I went and played with the Lakers again 2 years later. So I was, my dad was a center iceman. I was playing a wing with him, and I was just a treat to be able to play with him.
That's awesome! Wow, great memories.
Oh, absolutely.
The Allen Cup's, I think, is the oldest trophy in sports. They say the Stanley Cup is, but I think the Allen Cup's a little older. Are you familiar with that?
I'm well aware of. I don't know if that is the case, but I'm well aware of the Allen Cup.
Oh yeah.
I grew up watching senior hockey in southern Manitoba and Winnipeg, and across Western Canada, and all of my dad. My dad was playing when I was a young kid. My dad would be playing with the Lakers in the playoffs, and he would be listening to games on the radio.
That's awesome.
Wow,
that's awesome. And I want to ask you, in the Miracle game, they pulled the goalie. They pulled Trachek after the second period. What do you recall of that? And I think
he might have been. I think he was pulled after the first period.
Oh, was it the first?
Shocking, yeah. So Mark Johnson scored off on a rebound goal.
Off of your shot. I think you took a slap shot.
Yeah. There was the first period. The time was under 10 seconds, and the time was winding down, and I had the puck coming into the neutral zone, and just wound up thinking I was just going to, let the clock run out, and I decided that I'd throw a shot on the net. And Mark Johnson, who was just coming off on a line change and came off the bench, and he just kept going. I had no idea. I didn't see him or anything. I just threw a shot on Trachek. He let it bounce off his pads, and Mark Johnson picked it up and scored with fractions of a second left on the clock, which I think at that time tied the game at 2, and so we come out for the start of the second period, and Michigan has replaced Trachek in net, and Brooks was on the bench going, I've been telling you guys that there's something wrong with this team. They're just not playing at the level that we're accustomed to seeing them play. I don't know what's going on, but they just pulled the best goalie in the world.
Wow.
They just pulled the best goalie in the world. So just keep playing. Just keep playing your game. Which the second period, the Soviet team they outplayed us pretty badly in the second period, and they were up 3-2 after the second. But from the very start of that season, Brooks made it a point to he painted a vision of, when at that tryout camp when he made his first cuts and first selection, he was like, 6 months from now, when we get to Lake Placid, we may not be the best team there, but we will be the best conditioned team.
So a lot of ladders.
And that was, and I think that was a big reason we were one of the best conditioned teams when we were there. Yeah. When we got to Lake Placid.
Was his style very simple play, or did he want you guys to? Because the rink's bigger than North American rink, so was there a different style of play than your typical games that you're used to on the North American?
Well, it was he changed the way that we played. He allowed us to interchange positions. He just kind of let us go out and play a kind of a form of pond hockey, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Puck possession, skating. Making sure that if you were to dump the puck, you dumped it with the thought that you had a player in position that could get it, and not just throw it away. And don't be afraid to turn back if you didn't have an odd man situation at the offensive blue line. Just take the puck back, even in your own zone, and interchange, switch positions. Just make sure you filled all 3 lanes on the ice, and so it was kind of a throwback to a pickup hockey game that you had as a kid on the lake or on the river or at the rink. So just control the puck, keep the puck as much as possible.
Yeah, it's a great strategy, and it worked. I want to ask you, who was the best player on the Russians that stood out at that time?
Oh boy, they had a number of them. Boris Mikhailov, their captain, Fetisov, Kasatonov,
all legends.
Defense and partners. Krutov, Makarov.
What about Kharlamov? Was he playing?
Kharlamov was there.
Wow.
Maltsev. They had some fantastic players.
How fast was Kharlamov?
He was very fast.
How would he do in today's hockey?
Interesting. I don't think he was as fast as McDavid seems to be. But nobody is.
No, the skates make a difference too. I mean, they had heavy skates. You guys had heavy skates too.
Well, that could have been part of it, but Kharlamov was quick. He was fast.
Oh.
Maltsev was magic.
Yeah, that's a stacked team. Yeah. I want to ask you this. So, have you seen the movie Miracle?
I have. Yes, I have seen it.
I want to ask you, how accurate are they to what happened in the game?
The movie's fairly accurate. During the course of that season, things that were portrayed in the movie happened. There was probably some Hollywood embellishment, but there was certainly were some holdover rivalries going in at the very start, the East and the West rivalries. The skate that was portrayed and doing the Herbies after a game in Norway in September, leading into it, where Brooks kept us on the ice after a game and skated us. That actually happened, and the rink manager of the rink we were playing in, and he turned the lights out, and Brooks kept us skating.
So that did happen.
So,
wow.
That did happen. That was it was kind of sending the message that there are no days off. You gotta come to work, bring your lunch pail and your hard hat, and come to the rink and go to work.
Yeah.
In the interest, making sure that you're preparing, and both mentally and physically.
Yeah. That's what he did it right way. There's not too many coaches like that. That he brought you guys as a team. There wasn't the one guy leading it was just a team. And
it was a team, and I think that was a big part of it. He allowed us to form that tight, close knit bond as a team, and yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. Such great stories. I can't thank you enough for coming on and talking to me on my channel, bringing back hockey history. It's awesome.
Well, thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
We gotta do it again.
Yeah, I probably have to do a second one. I want to do a part 2, talk about your NHL career and a little bit more about the stick company, because
Okay.
that was a big part of
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a great weekend.
All right, Jack. Enjoy
too.
the Memorial Weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.